Welcome to Bass Talk with Hagen and Hayes. Today's bite-side podcast topic is rosin. Hi, Susan. How are you?
I'm doing well, David. How are you?
Very well, thank you. Tell me about rosin.
So, rosin. It's like ice cream. There are so many flavors out there right now. It seems,
Certainly are.
yeah, more and more are being created. Every week I see a new ad for one.
Mm.
I mean, when I was a student, I think there was that I knew of Pops and Carlson.
Mm.
And some people would talk about one called Nyman's, but I was told, I'm not saying this is accurate information, but I was told, oh, no, that's for jazz players. If you're a classical player, you'll use Pops or Carlson. And then in college, Colstein, which was made in New York, came along. And then the VDEF came along a few years ago. And then there was Bespoke Leatherwood, and they've got a whole bunch of different things. They've got percentages 20, 30, 40, 50, 60%. They've got bass extra, which I really do like a lot. There is Upton in Connecticut, Upton
Yeah.
Bass. They've got
Right.
they've got three, I call them flavors, I really do. And this one is plus. So there's 1, 2, and 3, and there's maple, honey, maple plus. And I feel like they're just different, sort of like leatherwood, they're different amounts of stickiness. There's the 050, which is also new. Severino Paolino, who he had his hand in the leatherwood one for bass. He's created this one on his own, which I was going to try last weekend, but I'm going to try it this week. I'm very excited about this. I'm playing with the Boston Symphony this week, and I'll try this. I've been using one called Big Dog, and it comes in a container kind of this shape, but it's
Fantastic.
bright yellow. And I should have it with me, but I don't, because it's at Symphony Hall right now. But it's nice. It has like the bite and the grip of Pops, but it doesn't get too sticky. But a little goes a long way. One thing I have found is there are different companies that do it. There's one called Rosin Saver, and it's a nice black tub. It comes with a humidity pack and a little silicone cup, and you plop your rosin in there, and it keeps it from drying out, which I think is really nice. Um, there are so many rosins out there. It's almost overwhelming at times. Now, what about you? What do you use? What do you like?
I think rosin for bass players is like searching for the holy grail, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
We're always looking for the best rosin, the perfect rosin, which I'm not don't know if we've found or not. When I was at music college, Royal College of Music, we went through periods of everybody would play Nyman's rosin, or everybody would play Carl's, or whatever. I can't remember what they were at those times. But we'd always go through the Pops rosin, I think was popular.
Yeah.
And I think I played Nyman's for a long time because in our climate, on the whole, it worked really well. In the summer, it was a little bit gluey,
Mm.
um, but in the winter, it was okay. And then Leatherwood came along, and it was really expensive. And I bought two percentages. I bought 20% and 25%. 20, I don't like. 25% is perfect for the playing I do, the solo playing. And there's a clarity to it, and
Yeah.
you can hear the tone through it. And it's perfect. And then, 050 came along.
Mm-hmm.
And again, lots of people were talking about this, and I bought a pot of that, and I love it. Absolutely love it. And all my students love it as well. So I'm in between Leatherwood and 050 at the moment.
Which is interesting because it's really the same brains behind both of those in a sense. I think, one of my colleagues likes to say, I don't care what kind of rosin you use, you still need to practice. And I think there's a lot of truth. I think sometimes we imagine that the rosin is going to solve the problem. But
Mm.
I think it's great there are different ones available, because there's so many different regions, not just in America, all over the world, different climate things, drier, damper, more
Yes.
extremes, and I think it's nice to have an option for everybody. And when I'm playing solo stuff, I love my Leatherwood 30%, which is a little stickier than what you like, but we're in different climates. But when I'm playing with the Boston Pops or Mahler 8 a few weeks ago with the Boston Symphony, I might need a little more grip than that. I just make sure that I wipe off my bow with a rag or clean it with a toothbrush so that when I go to play a concerto, my bow doesn't stick to the string because I was using Mahler appropriate rosin. But I love the idea of trying your friend's rosin. You know, you get to a rehearsal or a class or whatever and see what someone else is using and see if you like it. But it's not going to solve everything. It's just a small part of the recipe.
It's interesting with bass rosin because a lot of people stick with what they know,
Yeah.
and then a lot of people are quite happy to try new things. And it's I think we fall into two camps. And I think I got one foot in both camps, if I'm honest,
Mm.
because I think for about 30 years I used Nyman rosin because it worked. I liked it.
Yeah.
But I have moved over to these other two, Leatherwood and O50. And I can't quite work out. I was practicing this morning, and I started with Leatherwood, but I think mine's a bit old. I think I need to get some new.
All you need
Was
to
it-
do with leatherwood is bake it in the oven.
Is that right?
It reconstitutes it. And
Ah,
that I would ask every rosin company about because
hmm,
they say it shouldn't dry out quickly, which it doesn't. You've had that for a while, I know. But still, it can dry out. It's just sort of sitting there not being used or being used slower than, I mean, those are big cakes
okay.
of rosin. And you can put it in the oven. I'm going to give you American measurements. It's like 200 degrees for 5 minutes type of a thing. It's a very low heat and it's not very long. But I would check their website. And I think, I used to use Carlson all the time. That's all I used. And then I started using Colstein. And then every now and then I'd use one swipe of Pops. And I found my Pops died quickly. Um, from the climate in the winter here, it's so dry. Everything dries out. So I think it's great fun to try other people's rosins and
Hmm.
see what they have and see what they like about it. And I think it's the best advice is don't be afraid to try something new. Doesn't mean you have to love it and always use it, but also just know it's not going to solve all your problems. You still have to practice.
So true. That's so true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I still like. I like trying different ones when a friend recommends it.
Yes.
I always think that it's worth going for. But I think maybe I'm happy now with Leatherwood and O50. I think I'll get some more Leatherwood and see where we are with that one. But 25% for me is perfect. I don't play in orchestras anymore. I don't need 175%.
Right.
Really,
And I think I do still. Oh, well, I think that there's actually a surprisingly large amount of things to talk about when it comes to rosin, even though we just think it's just put something you put on the bow. You don't really need to think too much about it. But I think curious minds wonder. So this is just the tip of the iceberg as to how many rosins are out there. And if there's someone you like and trust and respect their playing, ask for a swipe of their rosin and see how you like it.
yeah,
Well,
it's always the best thing. Ask friends; they'll
yes.
tell you. Yeah.
And that is our bite-sized rosin podcast. Thank you for listening to season 3 of Face Talk with Hagen and Hayes. Everybody be well and stay tuned for more.
Bye.
Bye-bye.